See you tomorrow for the Fox 9 Morning News and back here at 11. Looks like another beautiful day for us after this gorgeous day. Well, thanks for joining us again. Next up is All Day.
Hello, I'm Amy Hockert. It is the noon hour. This is what we do here at noon, from noon until 2. We ride along the events of the day, any developing news, and some of the big headlines. We try to break them down for you as well. We're glad that you're here with us on this Thursday. A lot going on today. We are going to talk about the Minneapolis mayoral debate. There are 15 people who want to be mayor of Minneapolis, so we're going to preview a debate that's happening tomorrow morning that you can stream live. Lois Olson is here. We're going to ask him about that. And then we also, since he's here, political analyst as well, we want to talk to him about the state's latest fraud scandal. You know, could this one be even bigger than Feeding Our Future? There's a lot of little details, and we just wanted kind of a bigger picture. What does this mean, and how did we get here? Lauren Andrego is out and about. She is going to be telling us about that stretch of highway between White Bear Lake and Stillwater. It's Highway 96. Some big improvement projects are happening there, so she's going to break that all down for us. And then a little bit later in our next hour, we have now the state's first hospital specializing in neurological treatment for your pets. It is opening Monday, just north of the metro. We're going to talk with the lead veterinarian and learn a little bit more about neurological issues in your pets. And then also, should you even be doing anything more? It can be very expensive, right? Max Fuller is live for us in Dublin today. He has had a really busy day. We talked to him a little bit earlier, and he went through some of the highlights of his day. He's going to share those with us as well. Has some great stories, talking with Vikings fans there. Also, we're going to keep that school going. The president of the Vikings fan club across the pond, maybe you've seen him this morning. I saw him with Say early this morning, and I said, we got to get that guy's contact information and get him on here because he's just fantastic. And we'll talk to him, see how our international friends are getting ready for these couple of games coming up here the next couple of Sundays. All right, first though, let's run through a couple of headlines before we get into our conversation with Blois. So first, an update that we have to that the massive fraud story that a lot of people have been talking about. These two Texas brothers have now just been federally charged with a Washington County family, holding them hostage to steal what investigators say was, now they're saying $8 million in crypto. More than 100 times what investigators actually thought. So we have Raymond Garcia and Isaiah Garcia are these two young men, ages 23 and 24, who investigators say held a man at gunpoint. This is in Washington County, zip-tied him in his garage on Friday in the city of Grant. And then they found two other people in the home who were also tied up. One of the victims forced to transfer $72,000 in cryptocurrency. Both suspects now charged in federal custody. So our Karen Scullen was following this one yesterday, did a deep dive, and she is going to be joining us, I believe, next hour to tell us a little bit about more about what we know. Also, how did these two, allegedly get connected with this family in Washington County? If you were in the Matamidi area, you know that homecoming was canceled on Friday because this was all going on. So it had a pretty wide-ranging ripple effect. We'll talk about all of that. Another story that is developing right now we wanted to let you know about is on the Iron Range. Police want us to share this photo. Escaped inmate from Duluth is on the run. It is 40-year-old Michael Todd Hart, and they say that he escaped from the Northeast Regional Correction Center. Again, that's near Duluth. They say he escaped Tuesday night, last seen in a gray t-shirt, yellow sweatshirt, and blue pants, and they believe he's trying to make his way out to the Iron Range where he has some family and friends there. He was sentenced in August for attacking his girlfriend, so anybody who sees him should call 911. And then one more thing that just kind of popped up here in the last couple of hours. We were having our morning meeting, and all of a sudden Lauren got her phone and she said, uh-oh, and she gets these notifications from MnDOT. They've just announced closures now to 94 and 35E through downtown St. Paul this weekend. Closures. So here you go. Going to start 10 o'clock on Friday night. These are the shutdowns, 94 westbound here and southbound 35E. Weekend traffic on, if you're going west on 94, you're going to go northbound on that. You're going to be redirected to 35E, to westbound 36, to southbound Highway 280. And then traffic on southbound 35E, you are going to go eastbound instead on 94 around to Highway 52 south, and then back to westbound 494. Whew. Super long detours here. Lauren, she said, please, find your own route, leave a lot of time, and spread the word that this is going on. And we could get a little bit of an update tomorrow too as well. Last time this happened, I believe it's one lane closed right now, and that's what we're gonna go with. But she said, don't be surprised if maybe both lanes, but for now, one lane. All right, let's do it. Let's get into this here. The campaign for mayoral candidate Omar Fateh says that their campaign office was vandalized. So they say that they found a message outside their building that read, "Somali Muslim, this is no joke." The campaign did file a police report, and in a statement they say our campaign will not be deterred by hate speech and vandalism. We will not back down to Islamophobia. I will not be bullied or intimidated, end quote. So Fateh, who is a state senator, one of these 15 folks who is running for Minneapolis mayor. And on social media, Mayor Jacob Fry said that he did speak with Senator Fateh, and he said that his office and the MPD were ready to help out. The city staff went out to that building this morning. So let's talk about this mayor's race. Mayor Jacob Fry, of course, running for this third term. As we said, though, he's got competition. We have 14 others here who are wanting that seat. Minneapolis has ranked choice voting, so election day voters will choose their top 3, and then that winner will serve a 4-year term. All right, who are the candidates? Where do they stand on the issues? There's a debate on this. It's happening tomorrow morning. And joining me now is the moderator of tomorrow's mayoral debate, political analyst, CEO of Fluence Media, Blois Olson. Thanks for coming in.
Of course.
It's fun. We usually talk to you via Zoom.
Yes.
And this is nice to have you in person here. A lot to talk about here. We wanted to spend about 5 or 6 minutes, maybe go through each of the 5 who are going to be featured in this debate. And I think maybe the most helpful way to do this is to select maybe 1 or 2 things that this candidate is either has on their platform that stands out a little bit. We'll do it that way. So let's start. Let's go here with, let's see. Let me get my stuff here. Okay, Dwayne Davis.
Dwayne Davis is a pastor. He was pastor of one of the larger churches in Minneapolis, Plymouth Congregational Church. Okay. He stepped down as pastor. He really kind of leans into the idea that the community needs to make Minneapolis better, that we're not using the neighborhoods and the citizens to make Minneapolis better. And he strikes me as just kind of a jolly guy. He's very smiling. So he has a strong network through that church, and so it'll be interesting to see if his congregation shows up to support him.
Yeah, and so when it comes to public safety, just a quick follow-up. One of the things that a new mayor is going to have to decide is whether or not they want to keep Chief O'Hara around. Where does the Reverend Davis stand on that?
He is with both Omar Fateh and Jazz Hampton. Those 3 don't believe Chief O'Hara should stay.
Okay, so more of a community-based.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go to Senator Fateh, Omar Fateh. Obviously, all these candidates are either DFL or Brenda. I'll get into kind of the details there. But Senator Fateh, what do we need to know? He's been in the headlines. We know a little bit.
He was endorsed, and then that endorsement was revoked. He's a state senator. He's best known in the legislature for leading the charge on Uber driver issues and causes. He's an organizer by training, and he leans DSA or Democratic Socialist. And I think he's kind of distanced himself from the DSA platform, but there are several issues. I think the one thing he has talked a lot about is rent control. He wants rent control if he's mayor.
Yeah, a lot of affordable housing first initiatives here by a lot of these candidates. How about really quickly, city council relationships? How do you think he believes he will do, or how do you think he
Well, we know all 13 members of the city council are also on the ballot, so there'll be some changes there from people who didn't run again. And that's what I think we're watching to see how the mayor's race impacts some of the closer city council races, and whether or not the council, which now is probably majority more progressive than Mayor Frey if it moderates itself in this election.
So let's talk about Mayor Frey. Tell us a little bit about what he's putting forward. I mean, he obviously comes into this with a track record.
He does. And it's a third term, and third terms are hard. So I think, you know, it's continuing rebuilding the police department and the numbers there, public safety being a top priority. And then I think he's really focused on downtown and making sure that we get workers back. And the reason is because downtown property values have crashed, and that means tax collections are also coming down, and that's going to put more burden on homeowners versus commercial property in the city. And I think that's where the line in the sand for him is he is anti-rent control. Rent control is a very populist issue, and so the question is, does that become an issue that younger folks, renters, rally behind because of those candidates? Or do they understand that, like St. Paul, when St. Paul did rent control, they've had to dial it back because they just haven't been able to build housing?
I wanted to follow up really quickly with homelessness and encampment specifically, just because that has been in the headlines. The city of Minneapolis in a battle with a property owner who owns property has turned it into an encampment. Now there's restraining orders, been back and forth, but Mayor Frey has been really clear about his stance, which is these are places where there's an open drug market that's happening. They're dangerous. How are these other candidates talking about how they would fix that solution?
They want to make these encampments more comfortable. Senator Fate specifically wants to make sure that you have hand washing stations, bathrooms, that you supply these encampments. But I think what we've watched in other cities, Seattle and Portland, when they've done that, those encampments grow and grow and grow, and they become, you know, a sore for the neighborhood. Neighbors who live in housing there don't like it. We obviously have a housing and homelessness issue, but these are very complex issues: drug addiction, other societal issues that arise in these encampments. So I would say that Mayor Frey has been the clearest about eliminating encampments and making sure that they're as minimal as possible.
I guess I'll skip ahead to Brenda here, just because Brenda, her political ideology here, and just because she doesn't list it as DFL or Democrat, is community-focused, justice-minded, and transparency is what she wrote down. She is someone also who says that she has experienced homelessness, so it comes from a unique perspective here.
Yeah, she came here from Iowa. She worked kind of low income jobs and found herself homeless and slept on floors. So she has that experience. It'll be interesting to see just if she catches any traction, because she, you know, other than the other four, she's kind of the one candidate who's shown a campaign effort. A lot of people put their name on the ballot, but they don't run a campaign. But she has been trying to run a campaign, and I think as the only woman of the probably top 5 here, there's always a different appeal there. And
just a follow up for her is that it's my understanding she will not support keeping Chief O'Hara.
Correct.
She said, this was in the Star Tribune article that profiled each of them, we've been wasting time and money bringing in outsiders to fix problems that started from within. So it seems like she feels that Assistant Chief Amelia Huffman never got a fair chance at this, and maybe still upset about that. There's a lot of people who believe that we shouldn't have brought in an outsider. But, you know, at the time when Chief O'Hara was brought in, remember, he had dealt with a consent decree in Newark. He had that experience, and I think that's what Mayor Frey leaned into. There's also no guarantee that Mayor Frey reappoints Chief O'Hara as well. So we'll see. Yeah, the two of them seem to be lockstep. At least that's the perception, I think, that there's a unified front there. Right. And then the fifth candidate is Jazz Hampton. Yeah, Jazz Hampton. So can we pop up the graphic one more time, just so we can get a look at everybody here, if we can. So tell us about Jazz Hampton. So Jazz is a small business owner. He's really been driving his conversations on social media, TikTok particularly. He's from the north side of Minneapolis. And one interesting thing that is worthy is his car was stolen in this campaign. That's right. I forgot about that. And so he talks about that. And unlike, I think, he showed a very, I think, uncommon reaction, was like, this is part of living in a city. This is one of those things we have to clean up. Whereas if you think about the inconvenience or the anger that other people might have exhibited, I think, you know, it showed a different approach. I don't know how popular that approach would be
if my car was stolen.
Yeah. And a follow-up for him, one of the things that I think people look to in the course of the last few months as how would I have handled this is the incident on Lake Street with the what was thought to be initially perhaps an immigration raid, turned out not to be. MPD was called in at some point to help with crowd control of that, not to assist in any kind of a raid, which there was an immigration raid. But a lot of these candidates have talked about, you know, how they would have handled that. Should the question being that the Star Tribune posed to them is, should MPD be involved at all, even if there's, let's say there's an immigration raid, but on the side there's crowd control issues, there are, you know, there's looting or there's something like that, and some of these candidates say no, MPD should under no circumstances be involved, and some say yes, if so. Fry, and then I think it might be Jazz.
Jazz said yes.
Yes, said yes. Yeah.
I mean, I think after what we lived through in 2020, there is just a reality that if there's crowd control issues or something could turn into a public disturbance, that the general community doesn't want looting. They don't want neighborhoods ruined. They want to feel safe. And we know there's outside agitators, but we know how quickly those things grow. And so I think that is a very clear differentiation between these candidates.
Well, you have your work cut out for you tomorrow. Moderating is, I've never done it to this scale, and I can't even imagine.
It's one of those things, I don't know how I started doing this, but it's been over 10 years, maybe 15 years, and so I guess when, you know, I take the call, Amy.
Yeah.
And so
do you have a little buzzer, ding, your time is up?
Yeah,
or how are you doing it?
We have timekeepers, and actually after these segments, I'm going to go with my co-moderator, Mayla Hammer, and we're going to hammer out the alternating questions and the topics, and so there's a little prep time that goes.
You guys will be great. You guys do a really good job, so that'll be great. If you can stick around, I'd love to take a quick break and come back and talk a little bit about, get your perspective on what's going on with the very latest state fraud case that has just been a bombshell here. So let's do that. Let's take a break. Blois Olson continues here with a look at what's happening with the fraud scheme. Another one here. How big is this? How did this happen? Blois has all the answers.
All of them.
All of them when we come back. Oh, welcome back. Blois Olson, political analyst, also CEO of Fluence Media here. We talked a little bit about that mayoral debate that's happening tomorrow. Folks can stream that live.
They go to citizensleague.org.
Okay.
And they can find a link to stream that.
Perfect. And that starts at what time?
8 a.m.
8? Okay, very
Bright
good.
and early.
Bright and
Try
early.
to get them fired up early.
Lots of coffee.
Yeah.
Lots of coffee.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about something else that's been in the headlines here that, you know, in news organizations, we're kind of doing it, you know, as it drip, drip, drip comes along. But I really wanted to have you look at the big picture of this latest fraud scheme and what's happening. So just to, if you don't mind, I'll just set it up super quickly here. Let's see. So it has to do with a Minnesota healthcare program that was meant to help people on the autism spectrum. And this was discovered actually during the investigation into Feeding Our Future. And then yesterday we saw our first charges. So a 28-year-old woman, $14 million in a wire fraud charge. And the U.S. attorney saying this is really just the tip of the iceberg. So comparing this to Feeding Our Future, as we're sitting around talking at the kitchen table with our family, do I say this is even bigger? Has the potential to be even bigger? Or how does it
I don't think we know yet. I mean, so what I have been doing is looking at the money allocated by the state budget that went into these programs and then saying, well, how much was fraud? How much did fraud cost those programs? So in the autism program, you know, Feeding Our Future was over $400 million. There's not $400 million in the autism program, so I don't think it could be as big, but there could be more people. There could be some connections to the same people. This woman was part of Feeding Our Future fraud. Then they discovered the autism fraud. And this is in addition to the housing stabilization fraud. The charges, 8 people were charged last week. And so you start to, you know, look at this whole picture. And it all comes back to the state government, the administration from DHS, and providers and HMOs who have to, so if somebody suspects fraud and they're the administrator of the program, they have to tell the Department of Human Services. They have to then do an investigation. They then have to turn the findings of that investigation back to the state, and then the state says whether or not you can cut somebody off. And there can be months and months of that. I represent UCare, I have for 10 years, and I was saying to them, they've had some of these cases where they flag it, they do their investigation, but it can take 3 or 4 months to get an investigation done, and then 3 or 4 months to make the determination of whether or not you're going to cut somebody off. And so there are certain requirements when you look into it that take a certain amount of time. People I talk to are like, how are we not just freezing all these programs before we figure it out? There's some legal contracts that the state has to consider. One of the housing stabilization providers already sued the state, saying you can't cut us off. So these are complicated, but it doesn't, common sense would say, oh, just fix this. It's easy to fix. And it's not as easy to fix as it probably should be.
What does the internal auditing system look like for these programs? You know? So
I think that is the big political debate at the legislature is, shouldn't there be somebody independent looking at these? I'm going to say something I haven't really said before that is the quiet part people are talking about. There are state employees who run these programs like it's their own program. The legislative auditor said state employees have to stop viewing this as their duty to hand out money and start looking at themselves as regulators determining whether or not people are qualified for money. And we haven't seemed to have gotten a grasp on that, which Joe Thompson, the acting U.S. attorney, has said. This is cultural within state government, and that's one of the challenges I think that they just haven't been able to clamp down on.
So, and just really quickly, because I thought this was fascinating, the state auditor doesn't actually audit the state.
Correct.
The legislative auditor audits these state programs. But so I guess when we talk about this under, Governor Walz on his watch, we know he's running for a 3rd term. How much damage, if any, does this do to his campaign?
I think the reality is we don't know. One of the things that we haven't had in the last couple of governor's races is we haven't had an issue that lingered. We were coming out of COVID, schools That was the 2022 race, but then we had the Dobbs decision from the Supreme Court, and that was a quick issue that changed the mindset of the electorate. In 2018, when Governor Wells ran in an open seat, it was kind of, you know, he versus Jeff Johnson, one Minnesota versus, you know, a more conservative state. This fraud issue is likely to linger, and we have 14 months left. So if it lingers for 14 months, it may be one of those things that Governor Walz can't get out from under. Or there's going to have to be so much change within state government that people really feel like there's a plan going forward. And we're going to have to wait and see.
People at home might be wondering, all of this money we're talking about, these millions and millions of dollars, did this somehow come out of my pocket, or does it affect me directly financially in any way? Can you help kind of clear that up?
Well, there's a couple ways to think about that. A lot of it's federal money that's a pass-through from the state. So state administers a federal program, feds send us our money. Second could be they allocated more money to this program because we had that big surplus. Ultimately, this is all public money. So it all comes from taxpayers. And so, yeah, it does. And arguably, if there's fraud in these programs, and then we don't spend as much money on other priorities, schools, healthcare, nursing homes, whatever it may be, then those programs need more money. It's going to come from taxpayers.
Okay, wow, yeah, I mean, it's just these in the headlines. It's just it just keeps coming and coming and coming. It's just pretty incredible to follow along. Thank you for helping us put that into perspective. Good luck tomorrow. I know you and Mary will do great. Looking forward to seeing those candidates talk.
Sounds good.
So, all right, thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
Thank
sorry.
you. I have a quick update.
Quick update.
Boys can't hear me, Amy, so if you want to share the good news with him.
Okay, hang on a second. I'm gonna actually turn my IFB up so he can actually hear it. Hold on.
Got it?
Yep.
We are streaming the debate live tomorrow on Fox9.com and the Fox 9 YouTube. So, no pressure, boys, but...
Did you hear that?
I hope I can handle it. It'll be okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for letting me know that. Yeah,
yes.
I'm not going in. That's awesome. Okay, so there you go. All kinds of different places to watch. Really important. Can we get on our soapbox for a minute and say it's never been more important to get involved in, civics and local government? And
I think a lot of people feel that way right now. I mean, I have kids who are suddenly in their 20s who are suddenly interested. Yeah. And knowing what I've done all these years, they weren't very interested.
Exactly. They were probably embarrassed, like my kids.
Yes, aren't they?
What?
Yeah, they do. Why are you on TV?
Exactly. Right? Thank you, boys. Really appreciate it. We'll take a break, Amber. Yeah, good. Yeah, let's do it. Oh, a little peaceful moment here for you. All right. We'll be right back. And welcome back to All Day Live, coming up on 12:30 here on what is just another beautiful day, Thursday. Hoping you're having a really good one wherever you are today. We're going to take you to the East Metro now, where some communities there are teaming up to try to figure out how they can improve a highway. It's between White Bear Lake and Stillwater. There was an open house last night to talk about Highway 96 and what people want to see happen, the people who use it all the time. Our Lauren Andrago started digging into this for us today with some of the folks who are in charge of this and you know, how the public feels about it. Lauren?
Hi, good afternoon, Amy. Yes, I am in the beautiful city of Grant, right on the Gateway Trail. We have seen dozens of cyclists and hikers out today enjoying the beautiful weather and enjoying this beautiful area. This gateway intersects with Highway 96. That's where we're at right now. It's a corridor between White Bear Lake and Stillwater that has been identified as an area that could use some improvements, mostly in the category of safety for vehicles and for pedestrians and bikers and hikers and even people who are riding on horses around this area. Commissioner Fran Miron from Washington County here to tell me a little bit more about the project. Thank you so much for your time. You guys have been talking about this improvement project and this study for about a year now. What are the biggest safety concerns that you've identified along this stretch of highway?
Really, many crashes at major intersections along the highway, and those are the critical issues that we're really looking at right now.
So above average crashes on spots along this safety corridor, and you've had the chance to hear from residents both in person and online over the last few months. What are you hearing from them as far as their suggestions or changes that you think they should make to this area?
Well, we just had an open house last evening, and staff will be summarizing some of that information for the county commissioners. But, you know, some of the things that I'm hearing are concern over the safety, obviously, possibility of maybe providing pedestrian opportunities along the corridor, you know, preservation of trees and the natural beauty within this area, and yet you know, improving sight distances and that type of thing. So, you know, the comments oftentimes contradict one another. Sure. And the county board at some point in time will have to try to balance those conversations.
Can we talk a little bit about what makes this area unique? You are a farmer in the northern part of Washington County. This is an area that's more rural than neighboring Ramsey County. How does that make this specific stretch of highway unique for people who are driving or just passing by on foot?
You know, we're a rural area, and, you know, 50% of the land mass in Washington County is still rural ag land. But the reality is, and particularly in this area, there's a lot of development that's going on, and so land use changes are occurring, and those land use changes are impacting the needs and the safety issues along this corridor. A good example is that you know, some agricultural land that actually was converted into a winery. Winery and raising grapes are still part of agricultural production, right? But now there's a venue for weddings there and other activities, and that generates a lot more traffic and activity within the area, which requires, I think, an additional look at safety.
Yeah. Absolutely. So let's push ahead to what people can expect moving forward. You guys are in the next couple of months going to develop some plans, some areas of improvement. When could people start seeing orange cones on this highway? I think that's what drivers want to know.
You know, 2028 is when we've got funding programmed for this highway and for the improvements. But we've got an online process right now that we're encouraging people to go to our county website and you know, go online and share comments. That's going to be open, I believe, until October 8th, allowing people to share comments. Those comments are so valuable to us because there isn't anyone that understands and knows this corridor better than the people that live here and drive here on a regular basis. And so our process really takes that public input and helps us determine what designs and what safety measures are necessary to improve this roadway and you know, provide for long-term opportunities and traffic movement within the area for years to come.
And I do want to ask you about the trail before I let you go, because believe it or not, we have not seen like a single biker in the last 3 minutes, but it was looking like the Tour de France about 10 minutes ago on this trail. And trail expansion could be part of this project in the next couple of years.
It could be, and that trail expansion, if it would occur along the 96 corridor, then could connect into the Gateway Trail here and ultimately into the Browns Creek Trail. So, those opportunities are significant, and how we incorporate that into the planning is one of the things that people were providing input on and still can by going online.
Commissioner, thank you so much for your time. So interesting. Appreciate your insight into this project. Amy, like you said, you don't have to panic yet. No construction probably going to happen visibly around this area until 2028. But in the meantime, Washington County wants to hear from residents and anyone who drives this stretch of road. So until October 8th, you can head to the Washington County website, fill out that form, and let them know what you think, what sort of improvements you want to see along this trail. I'm going to be taking out my bike in the next 7 days. It's going to be a gorgeous bike day every day. And this Gateway Trail is just stunning. I haven't been to this area much, and I will definitely be back.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. All right. Thanks, Lauren. Appreciate it. We'll see you in a bit. All right, let's check some regional headlines here. Why don't we go? Let's see. Let's start in Beltrami County. Let's go to Bemidji, where they are making some pretty big cuts to their library system. The Bemidji Pioneer has this story. It sounds like county commissioners voted 4-1 in favor of the cuts, and here's what's going to happen. It's going to cut the library system's budget by about 40%, which is about $175,000. And the county will now fund the libraries at the state mandated minimum of around $265,000. And some other cuts were made to the Beltrami County Historical Society, Paul Bunyan Transit. We know from doing other stories and budget stories in other communities. I know Rochester, also the city of Rochester, had taken a look at cutting some of their library services, as well as that's kind of how finite some of these decisions have been, because they're just so strapped for money. So they did not do it in Rochester, but we're seeing it in some of these communities where they had to make those really, really difficult cuts. All right, let's see. Let's go to Fargo. Yeah, let's go to Fargo. Enrollment. Let's talk about enrollment. NDSU is, we've seen it some schools up, down. You're steady Eddie, North Dakota State. Fargo Forum has this one, just under 12,000 students enrolled at NDSU this fall, which is pretty close to the number reported in 23 and 24. But before 23, and this is why it's kind of more notable, enrollment had been actually declining. So they're kind of back up to steady there. And then NDSU also says that it leads all colleges and universities in North Dakota with in-person enrollment. So that means that's defined as 95% of students are taking class actually on campus. So there you go, Bison, there you go. And then let's see, should we go to Wisconsin? Wisconsin, we heart our Wisconsin viewers. That charge led by the one and only Amber Milner, our Wisconsin.
You're gonna start saying you love Wisconsin so much that people aren't gonna believe you. They're like, why do you gotta keep saying it?
I know. Well, I know. I feel like we leave them out because we are based here. Just like I feel like sometimes we are West Metro centric because or heavy because that's where we are, and so things like affect us here. But then we always that's why Lauren was one of the reasons she's like gotta get out north, south, east, and talk about some of those other communities. But speaking of going east, La Crosse. So we talked about this the other day. We mentioned Oktoberfest celebrations, and as soon as you said this one, like 3 people in the newsroom were like, "Oh my God, I love that!" Yeah. And so tell us what's happening in
It's La Crosse Oktoberfest. I mean, if you know, you know, and a lot of people do know. It's huge. It's one of the largest in the U.S. It honestly might be the largest in the U.S., but it's definitely named. Yeah. So it's like Oktoberfest USA is what it's called, and it's definitely ranked among the most favorited Oktoberfest celebrations in the United States, top 10, I believe, by USA Today. It's like our local ones that made the top 10 list are La Crosse and New Ulm, which that one is next weekend. But if you're down in the La Crosse area, this one is worth a visit this weekend. It goes all weekend. Fest grounds open tonight for the first time, 4 o'clock, I believe. Okay. And obviously, Amy, people associate Oktoberfest with a lot of drinking and rowdiness, right? And there is that if you want it, but there is also a lot of family-friendly stuff.
Oh, good.
I spent how long was I in La Crosse? Like 7 years between college and starting my career. So I'm very familiar with this, and the the celebrations kind of like span the city. They're not just during or like inside the fest grounds. If you're looking for a parade that's family centric, more like carnival style stuff, that's on the north side of the city. And the Torchlight Parade is really fun. They basically have like glow sticks and everyone's lit up with lights at night, and there's clog dancers and so many lederhosen, you don't even know where to look. It's crazy.
Okay, I was getting to the end of this list of the top 10.
Yeah.
And it came in at number 10. I was like, oh whoops, this is timeout.com. Crosse Oktoberfest in Wisconsin. Yep, so $25 to get in, 25th through the 28th. Wait, free on Sunday.
Yeah. So they really try to bring people in on that last day, right? So that's probably the quietest day. If you're looking for a little bit more of a mellow crowd, Sunday is probably your best bet, or tonight even. But lots of fun stuff going on. I asked for some of the royal family to come on because they have, you know, as these festivals do, a whole smorgasbord of royal people. But they're busy tapping kegs and hoisting steins, and so I got told we can't squeeze you in.
Bummer.
I know.
Hot tip from timeout.com. It says, we love a good treasure hunt, and this one has a medallion hunt, so you can work in teams to untangle a daily clue, and there's a hidden medallion worth $500.
Yep. The medallion hunt is a big thing.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, there you go. That sounds like something fun to do. Looks, I'm sure, you know, I'm not sure. I'm not a meteorologist, but I would think that the weather would be okay because I didn't see any sort of weather system.
It's not very fall-like. It doesn't really feel like October this weekend.
You know what? It's your lederhosen. You might want to, have a
the lederhosen and the dirndls, and like you don't have to wear layers. You know, just wear your regular Oktoberfest get up, no extra fluff, and you'll be good to go. So
sounds like a great time. Yeah. Okay. Well, should we take a break and come back?
Yeah.
And then do you want to go to? Should we go to Dublin? What do you say?
Yes, and I think I'm going to show you a shot from Dublin right now. Look at that.
How pretty. This is a live shot in Dublin. Early this morning, I saw some folks with jerseys on.
So I saw some people with Steelers jerseys on in this shot a little bit ago, so boo them. I haven't seen any Vikings people yet, but I'm sure that they are there. I see a guy wearing purple in the background, so maybe he's a Vikings fan.
I'm sure it is, yeah. Well, Max is there. He's definitely been talking with all the Vikings fans. So we're going to check in with him next and find out what he's been up to all day. Stay with us. All Day Live continues after this. And welcome back to All Day Live. 12:44 is our time, but in Dublin, it is 6:44. The Vikings are headed there today. A lot of fans. The party's already started, including Max Fuller, who's live in Dublin. Outside, are you outside? Okay, you're walking. Are you getting to that spot where the Vikings fans go to watch games, the Vikings bar?
Oh, yeah. I'm well on my way, Amy. And you know, whether I'm in Dublin or Duluth, the party's always where I'm at, Amy.
We know that, absolutely. That's why we keep coming to you, because we see your smiling face and you just make us happy and make us want to celebrate. A lot to talk about. I talked to you a little bit ago. You had a really busy day. So do you want to help run through some of the highlights? I know we have video for some of it, so we'll just kind of try to follow along here. How'd it go?
It was a crazy day. It's just been hectic left and right here. I mean, there's so many rubes out here, Amy, and I can tell because just everywhere I go, people are screaming Max. You'd think my name was Sinead Fro Connor or Connor Max Gregor, the way I'm famous over here in Ireland. But yeah, it's been a crazy day. They have a ton of official NFL events here that they've been rolling out starting today. I got a chance to go to the Super Bowl gallery, and I got to see something that Minnesota fans are not used to seeing. A trophy, the Lombardi trophy of all trophies. They had the shining Lombardi trophy right there. I couldn't help but
Oh, breaking up just a little bit there. Oh, there we go. Max is breaking up just a little bit. If you can hear me, Max, maybe. Oh, there you go. Great photo. And then you saw, of course, the rings as well. NFL experience. We're going to see if we can get him back on. See if he can reconnect here.
Oh,
there we go. There you go.
Okay, am I back?
I got you. So we saw the trophy and the rings. What else? What else you been doing?
Vikings bar, by the way, J.R. Mahan's. That's the official Vikings bar. I said Mahones, but they said, nah, bro, that's the American way. It's Mahan. I got a chance to talk to Joe Mahan, the owner of the bar. It's been a bar since 1880, I believe, Amy. A lot of history there. Vikings making some history this Sunday against the Steelers, and that's why they got so many NFL events here. I got to see the trophy, got to see the rings, and then at Dublin Castle, they had a NFL kicking experience, and I got a first-hand
look at the go before you move.
Okay.
So make sure your foot's still in line. Put the ball in the middle of the goalpost. You're still in that same
Dublin
right there, okay?
footballers.
2 steps to your left. 90. 1, 2. Okay.
And then,
so
how do you want me to run up to it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't hesitate. Okay.
All right,
a lot of people will take little choppy steps, big steps,
Just go.
kick through the ball.
Okay. Let's do it.
You want another
Your
one?
coaching didn't help. Your coaching didn't help, dog. I mean, are you any good on the team? Your coaching didn't help, dog. All right, let me get another one.
I can't even laugh. I have tried that, and it is so hard. And so I hope nobody is smirking at home.
It's way harder than it looks. So someone in line even said, well, how hard can it be? I said, brother, that's how you get in trouble. I've learned too many times on being on the other end of that. It's never as easy as it looks. My second kick was a lot better. Just didn't have the distance, though. So next time a Vikings kicker misses a kick, listen, I get it. We've had our kicking woes, but you won't hear anything from this guy right
That's right. Hey, the bar is behind you. I can see it. So I know yesterday you had a chance to talk to some folks, maybe the bar owner as well. What are they saying?
Man, everybody's just super excited for history here in Dublin. It's the first NFL game, but there has been football, American football played here. Actually, college football, I think for the last 5 or 6 years has played here. And the Pat McAfee show was actually filmed right here at the official Vikings pub. But everybody's just super excited. I was kind of disrespecting the Steelers fan presence out here today. They've stepped it up a little bit. They've stepped it up. They might outnumber Vikings fans out here, unfortunately, Amy. But hopefully, Vikings fans are hardworking. We don't just take the whole week off. We're pulling up on Friday, Saturday, even Sunday morning. We don't take days off. We support our team and we go right back to the grind because that's what we do in Minnesota. But everybody around here is just really excited for NFL football. I mean, it's everywhere. Every single bar has a Vikings or Steelers flag. Every bar has a special out here. Even I've talked to a lot of Irish and UK fans out here, and they're super excited to get a chance to see the game that they love, that they usually have to see it random hours of the day / night right here in their home country. So everybody's just really excited. The vibes are absolutely immaculate. I'm rocking my Vikings gear because it's kind of a cheat code, because when you see other Vikings fans, you know, we're very united over here. I wish we were as united back home as we are here. Because every Vikings fans I see, we just all skull, okay, and then we all smile and keep it moving. So everybody's a united front out here, but the vibes are immaculate, Amy.
That's fantastic. And so I have to admit, when I heard that there was this pub where you could go, I thought it was just, you know how some cities have a Vikings bar where you can go and watch the games and it's on the TV. This is an actual Vikings pub. Like, it's legit permanent. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's the official NFL Vikings pub here in Dublin. They had to go through an application, a tryout process even. And when you go in there, Amy, I'm not going to go in there and bother all those people because I've been bothering them for the last 2 days. But when you go in there, there's pictures of Justin Jefferson. They got skull, all these different Vikings like phrases on the stairs. They got Vikings skull on the tables. It's Vikings everywhere all the time, all 4 floors. I believe they've had some Vikings legends speaking there earlier today. So it's all Vikings all the time at J.R. Mahon's.
Mahon's, yes, yeah. No, we saw some pictures that you shared. We put those up a little earlier. Last thing I want to ask you about is, it's my understanding, and producer Amber has told me, that perhaps you've become a bit of a local celebrity there. Have you been propositioned for interviews?
I have, actually. It's been kind of crazy because I'm rocking the purple, and because, trust me, I stand out here even more than I do back home in Minneapolis. It is very white here. If it ain't green, it is white here in Dublin. So I stand out. So I've been propositioned by a couple of local television stations, basically the Irish version of PBS. And I brought them in. They didn't know who they were interviewing. I'm like, oh, well, I'm about to flip the interview on you. I'm interviewing you now. So I got some out of them, they got some out of me, but yeah, I don't think they were anticipating getting all the great audio that they got from me, because I'm animated, I'm jacked up, I'm ready to go, and I know what makes good TV, Amy, so I gave them a little something extra.
I bet you did. I'm sure you represented us well. They walked away from that going, wow, we were wrong about Americans. They're amazing. Max, thank you so much.
I'm an ambassador.
You are. You really are. All right. Thank you. Thanks for hanging. I know these are long days for you. It's coming up on 7 o'clock there, and you start early too. But we want to just keep checking in with you because it's just so much fun to kind of live this through you. So, thank you. We'll see you later. Let you go.
Later, Amy. Okay. Anytime y'all need me. I only had to go to Dublin to get back on all day. I mean, what the heck?
Well, the ban's been lifted. You're back. You're back, baby. All right. See you, Maxo. Bye. Max and the rest of the Fox 9 crew is going to be up, bright and early, getting you ready for that game on Sunday, 7 o'clock. In the morning, 7 a.m., Vikings Game Day Live, and then kickoff in Dublin set for 8:30. Don Mitchell as well is going to be there. It's going to be fantastic. We can't wait. All right, let's take a break. I think we got some thunder here. Wait, do we really have this? Thunder in the Black Hills? From Gerg. Thanks, Gerg. We appreciate it. Enjoy this, and we'll be right back with more headlines. All Day Live continues. Welcome back to All Day Live. We want to run through some headlines here for you, stories that we're following today. We have a little bit of an update to a really bizarre story that a lot of you, I think, have been talking about the last day or so. We now know that a couple of brothers from Texas have just been federally charged in just a, like I said, bizarre, I guess is the best way I can put it. As we see news stories come into our newsroom, Karen Scullin joining me now. Sometimes they just stick out and go, wow, this is something we have not seen before.
I think that's what everybody's saying. I mean, you hate to say it because it sounds so cliche. This is something out of a movie, but it is something that would come out of a movie. It's really crazy. The update, we're talking about the story, of course, where the two Texas brothers drove about 18 hours to target and rob a family of cryptocurrency. Neither one knew each other. The father suspects that, you know, there was a data leak of his crypto account information, and maybe that's how they targeted him.
Okay. So, and they're in Washington County. And so there is it a family or people who live in a home and they are just kind of minding their business and father.
So it was a father, son, and imagine a wife, a mother of the child, but it's an adult child, by the way.
Okay.
Live in a home in Grant, the city of Grant, which is basically connected to Matamidi. And he was taking out the trash Friday morning, and he gets approached by two men who, in all dark clothing, at gunpoint, bring him into the garage, at gunpoint, zip tie his hands, bring him inside. They wake up the mother and adult son and zip tie them, make them lie down on the floor. This goes on for 9 hours. During the 9 hours that they were being held down on the floor, the father of the home had to get into his crypto accounts, transfer money, a lot of it, and then it drove him 3 hours to get more because they wanted more money, and the father stored some in a crypto wallet at a cabin 3 hours away. So the difference between yesterday's story, which is crazy, and today's story is now they're charged federally, and there's a big discrepancy. Yesterday, the state was reporting $72,000, and a lot of us were saying, would you really go 18 hours with this risky, complex robbery for $72,000? Well, the feds announced today it's $8 million. $8 million in this crypto heist. So it's crazy, especially for people who don't really understand crypto. I'm one of them. I don't fully understand how this happens, and my big question is, are they able to get it back? It's not tangible, so is it like somewhere in Nigeria or Congo or something, or where is it? And will they be able to get it back? And the interesting part is that one of the defendants, these Garcia brothers, one of them was on the phone with a third party while they're trying to do the transfer, and that third party was kind of walking him through the steps on how to make sure this was happening, the process to actually get it transferred to some unnamed crypto wallet.
Wow, and we don't know how close authorities might be to determining who that third person.
Or if they're looking, if they know where he is or who he is,
because these two could have just been kind of the muscle here.
Yeah,
right?
The frustrating part is we haven't been able to get any local law enforcement or county attorney, or right now we're working on the U.S. attorney to help explain some of this stuff that's happening and why, and some of the questions we have. But for now, we were in this neighborhood yesterday. It is a beautiful, beautiful neighborhood. I mean, there's some $3 million homes in there. There's not a lot of them, maybe 8 homes on this long street. They all have a lot of property. Beautiful homes where this has happened, but yeah, a random Friday morning. And this, of course, is the case that canceled the Matamidi High School homecoming game Friday night.
That's right. You were seeing on social media, it was like almost like a lockdown situation or some sort of uncertainty, and they ended up canceling homecoming.
Right. They just didn't know where they were at that point, and it was actually a Wendy's receipt that was found with an AR-15.
Yes, tell us about that.
Yeah.
That was fascinating.
It is fascinating. They messed up. The bad guys messed up here, and they dumped or dropped or whatever a suitcase, and in the suitcase was some clothing, some bottles and cans, I think, and this AR-15 with ammunition. I think it was disassembled, and then this Wendy's receipt, and it was this simple Wendy's receipt that allowed law enforcement to track their path. And so they got surveillance video, not only from the homes in the area so they could see which way these guys ran, but they went to the Wendy's and they got surveillance video pinpointing the time that this order was placed in the drive-thru, saw the car, and then a Vietnamese restaurant had a camera up and was able to get the license plate.
Oh, wow.
So that traced them down to Texas, where they're from, to their home, where the brothers were staying. They found the rental car, they found these guys. And actually, I think we just got a picture in of one of them. I can hold it up if you're interested in that.
Yeah, they've been charged now. So,
yeah, so one of them, they've been hard to find. I couldn't find them where they were being held. But this is Isaiah Garcia. I don't know if you can see that very well.
Yeah.
But that's Isaiah Garcia.
So there's two brothers
There's
here.
two brothers.
Okay.
There's Raymond and Isaiah. And I think they're 24 and 25, or 23 and 24.
Yeah. I saw, yeah.
So they're in custody, and we'll see what happens. And apparently that one confessed.
Oh, okay.
So that's my understanding, confessed to the crime.
My goodness. Yeah, you and I both, with this crypto stuff, I guess I have the same questions I think probably most people do.
Do you get it back?
Is the big one I had not thought of.
Yeah.
That's the big one, right?
Well, and there's this whole sidebar thing, you know, people who don't understand it or afraid of it. You know, I've known a couple of people who, because if you don't have the password, if you forget the password or you lose the password, you have no access. Nobody has any access. That just sits there. I think Kevin Durant has a case actually where he can't access and he thinks he's got $100 grand
That's
or
right.
more
He does. Yeah.
in his crypto, but there's no way to get it.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
He lost his password. My son lost $100 that way.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's 500 in there now.
So yeah, right. You never know. Wow, incredible. Yeah, and that connection. You know, I think there's a lot of like, how could there not be some crossover connection between whoever's behind this, whether it's these two or that third party, and this family. If there was that data breach, it's just so much still.
And like, is it floating around the dark web? Like,
right.
is like that information that said, okay, this family has this amount of cryptocurrency, they live at this address,
right.
and yeah,
and other people who have it, do they need to be worried about that kind of thing?
Right.
Anyways, yeah, if you want to just, I guess we have the full screen mugshot. So this is the picture that we have of one of the suspects.
That's Isaiah.
That's been charged now. So Isaiah, and then a brother as well. And you said Isaiah, you believe, is the one who's.
I believe he's confessed.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what the DOJ or the U.S. Attorney was saying today. So.
Oh man, Karen.
Yeah, a lot to this one.
This is that's a doozy. So, but yeah, every once in a while. I mean, you cover a lot of different things. Every
this
once
one's
in a while.
new.
It takes a lot for Karen's eyebrow to go.
Yeah, right.
All right, thanks for checking in on that one. Appreciate it. Okay, have a good one. We'll see you tonight.
Thanks.
Working on something else.
Yep.
It's a secret. No, it's not really a secret.
It's probably this.
Yeah, it's probably this. All right, thanks, Karen. Okay, let's run through some more headlines here, if we could, please. State fraud. Okay. Let's do this, and I don't have, okay. So a woman charged with wire fraud now after this investigation into her autism center, and investigators have discovered this connection. In fact, I believe it was while they were investigating Feeding Our Future, then that's when they kind of opened up this other fraud case. So prosecutors say some smart therapy centers recruited families, got kids, autism diagnoses, and then billed the maximum to Medicaid, more than $14 million worth is what's being alleged here, but then they say providing few services in return. I did see an interview I think we did with the defendant's attorney this morning, who said yes, some of these people did get services, but the billing was where the discrepancy was. The company is also accused of billing for feeding children through Feeding Our Future. And the woman here, 28-year-old Asha Farhani Hassan, would make her the 76th defendant in the Feeding Our Future case. And again, her attorney saying that she's planning to enter a guilty plea for the wire fraud charge, which is now in this separate case involving these autism centers and money that was supposed to go to resources for children who had been diagnosed with autism. So we talked to Blois Olson a little bit earlier about this, the magnitude of it, just try to look at it big picture. Here's a little bit of what he had to say.
You start to, look at this whole picture, and it all comes back to the state government, the administration from DHS, and providers and HMOs who have to, so if somebody suspects fraud and they're the administrator of the program, they have to tell the Department of Human Services. They have to then do an investigation. They then have to turn the findings of that investigation back to the state, and then the state says whether or not you can cut somebody off. And there can be months and months of that. I represent UCare, I have for 10 years, and I was saying to them, they've had some of these cases where they flag it, they do their investigation, but it can take 3 or 4 months to get an investigation done, and then 3 or 4 months to make the determination of whether or not you're going to cut somebody off. And so there are certain requirements when you look into it that take a certain amount of time. People I talk to are like, how are we not just freezing all these programs before we figure it out?
Yeah.
There's some legal contracts that the state has to consider. One of the housing stabilization providers already sued the state, saying you can't cut us off. So these are complicated, but it doesn't. It's common sense would say, oh, just fix this. It's easy to fix, and it's not as easy to fix as it probably should be.
All right, and then one more thing here. We're following this developing story. The law enforcement kind of in the Duluth Iron Range area are asking people, media especially, to share some information because there is an escaped inmate who is on the run right now. So it's 40-year-old Michael Todd Hart, who they say escaped from the Northeast Regional Corrections Center near Duluth late Tuesday night. They say last seen wearing gray t-shirt, yellow sweatshirt, and blue pants. And they believe that he is trying to make his way to the Iron Range. And so again, this was Tuesday night. They say he has family and friends there. And he was just sentenced in August for attacking his girlfriend. So they're asking anybody who sees him, has any information, to please call 911. Another bit of news here that we wanted to share. So the campaign for Minneapolis mayoral candidate Omar Fateh says that their campaign office was vandalized. They say that they found a message outside their building and it read, Somali Muslim, this is no joke. The campaign has filed a police report, and they did release a statement saying, quote, our campaign will not be deterred by hate speech and vandalism. We will not back down to Islamophobia. I will not be bullied or intimidated. Fateh is a state senator, and he is one of 15 people who are running for mayor in Minneapolis. And then Mayor Jacob Frey on social media said that he has spoken with Senator Fateh. He said that his office, also MPD, are ready to help. The city staff went out into the building this morning, so they're taking a look at that as well. All right, and then let's see. Oh, the debate. Let's talk really quickly. Do we want to talk about the debate that's happened? Just say, okay. Okay, thanks. So we had Blois Olson here a little bit earlier. He is moderating a debate that we wanted to just let you know about tomorrow for Minneapolis mayor. 5 of the candidates will be there, including Mayor Jacob Frey, Senator Fateh, 3 others. So you can stream that actually tomorrow live. And I believe, remind me again, because we just figured this, we just learned, is it Fox 9 Plus? I don't want to say it wrong. Okay. Well, nope, sorry, not Fox 9 Plus. Fox9.com and our YouTube channel tomorrow, starting at 8 a.m. You can stream this debate between 5 of those candidates, and Blois and Mary Lahammer will be moderating that, and should be a good opportunity to hear how those candidates are weighing in on those issues that are most important to people who are living in Minneapolis. So definitely check that out if you can. Okay. Let's do this. Amber's telling me that we have a shot up right now. So this is what we think is going to be a press conference here in Dallas. Yep. Okay. Right there. FBI giving us an update here on that Dallas ICE facility shooting. So this is scheduled, I think, for 1:30, but we're just going to keep an eye on it. Maybe we can take a commercial and come back, but just letting you know that we are following this, and we will try to take some of that if we can and figure out kind of what the latest is on the horrific shootings that happened there yesterday at the ICE detention facility in Dallas. And much more to come here on All Day Live. We hope that you'll stay with us. We'll be here with you until 2 o'clock. Reminder coming up. Next segment or two, we're going to be talking to the lead veterinarian from Minnesota's first neurological first specialized clinic. So she's going to tell us a little bit about that and what you need to know if your pet unfortunately is experiencing some of those symptoms, how common it is, that kind of thing. And there's our email address, allday@fox.com. We love to hear from you and have been hearing from you, and we really appreciate it. There are great comments here. Mo is saying, welcome back to Amber. Great to see you back on the air after your health, after dealing with your health, and you're doing great. And also, big shout out to Ryan for helping out the past few months. That's from Mo. So thank you, Mo. Appreciate that. We're going to check the weather and be right back with more All Day Live after this.
The pleasant stretch continues. Oh, poor us with our amazing weather, blue skies, sunshine. We did have some spotty fog this morning. Technically, red wing always have trouble saying that. Red Wing had some fog this morning. It was around the bend, though. This view was always pretty nice. We always could see across the bend there and up into the blue sky, but you could always see just a little fog kind of lurking in the distance around the turns there on the river. Heading to 81 degrees today. Southwest to western winds, 5 to 10 miles per hour, help us out. Bright and blue sky, feeling toasty. Amazing with dew points there in the upper 50s for the day today. That west-southwest wind really helps us out and just makes for a beautiful afternoon. Tomorrow, a little baby frontal boundary kind of sags across the area, just changes the wind direction so that little east-northeast flow kind of puts us in the Twin Cities, most of the viewing area in the 70s, but southwestern flow, well, that'll keep the 80s going in southwestern parts of the state. Little baby frontal boundary brings a couple of sprinkles on the Canadian border tomorrow night, and then Saturday, northern flow keeps us locked in the 70s, and we continue that trend. Beautiful and nice weather. Going to get a little sunburn for the Gophers game, maybe. That burn time coming in around 45 minutes. Gorgeous sunshine and 76 on Saturday. Upper 70s on Sunday, and we wrap up the month with gorgeous weather. Looking at the 80s on Monday and Tuesday, and welcoming October well above average. Average high for this time of year is the upper 60s, and we're aiming for the upper 70s by next Wednesday. Fox 9 All Day Live continues. We're back after the break.
Now.
And welcome back to All Day Live. Neurological problems, they can be fairly common in pets, and they can affect everything from, basic things like breathing to maybe their ability to understand commands. And of course, we do see them as our pets get older. So what are the signs? What's some of the treatment? And should you invest in more specialized care? These are all questions that we want to ask to Dr. Missy Carpentier. She's from Minnesota Veterinary Neurology, which we understand is the state's first neurology-specific hospital, opening up on Monday in Columbus, just north of the metro. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
So first, can we talk about some of the most common signs that your pet may have a neurological problem?
Yeah, absolutely. The most common reasons that we'll see pets is due to seizures or potentially a dog that's no longer able to walk. They can have a disc herniation similar to you and I, and they need immediate care. Other things that we can see them for is really bad neck or back pain itself. So those are the most common reasons that we'll end up seeing pets, and that can be of any age. And then unfortunately, as they get older, other things like brain tumors we do have to worry about. But depending on the type of tumor that we find, it may be one that we're able to surgically remove.
And how about dogs versus cats? I mean, is it more common in one or the other, or?
Great question. So I definitely I travel all across the country practicing, and I will say Minnesota sees more cats than any other state I've ever been in. We still see more dogs than cats, but in Minnesota, I'd say it's about 60 to 65% dogs and then 35 to 40% cats that I see. Minnesotans, I will always say, love their cats, which is great, so we can get them the care they need.
Yeah, and I guess that's what we're talking about, you know, dogs or cats. Are there specific breeds? I mean, particularly, well, I guess I should ask for both now since we have a higher number coming in, but breeds where neurological problems tend to be a little bit more prevalent.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Dachshund was kind of always our low rider breeds, is what we call them. They are always the dogs that were our classic breed that we would see for acutely losing the ability to use their back end, so being paralyzed because they've herniated a disc. Currently, the number one or the most popular breed is the French Bulldog, and that's definitely the most common breed that we'll see in neurology for not only disc herniations, but also seizures. They also get a lot of congenital anomalies within their spine that can make them have difficulties walking as they grow older. And then they unfortunately also can get seizures. So I just always tell people, I love French Bulldogs. They're great. Just make sure you have good pet insurance.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was my next question is a couple just logistical things here. Do pet owners need a referral to come see you? And then also insurance. Is this, these services, since they're specialized, is there a difference in insurance coverage?
Yeah, good question. So every insurance company is different, first and foremost. So I always recommend checking with the insurance company that you have to see if they are going to cover what needs to be done. And then in regards to if they need a referral, your primary veterinarian can absolutely put in a referral. Otherwise, we do allow, we would say, client-based referrals where the owners can request a consult. That happens very commonly where they just want to get more information about a topic. So we accept both.
Okay. And then how about, can we talk about treatment? I mean, give us some examples of the range of the types of treatment from sort of the simplest to, you know, the most intensive.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can see patients, if they come in, we see a lot of what we call idiopathic or genetic epilepsies. So meaning that dogs were born with a seizure disorder. So when those cases come in and they kind of check all the boxes, and that's what we think it is, they don't necessarily need an MRI, though that's the best way that we can rule everything else out. But if that's the case, they come in for their appointment and we talk about different seizure medications that they may need to go on. Now, in other cases, if I have a dog who acutely has lost the ability to use his back legs, and he needs an emergent MRI, that's something that we can do. Our patients do have to undergo general anesthesia to have an MRI. They're not like you or I and are going to lay there perfectly still. So that is one difference in veterinary medicine versus human medicine is for the MRI, our patients are under anesthesia. So it comes with some specific kind of protocols that we need to have. And then based on what we see on MRI, if it is a disc herniation and surgery is needed to decompress or remove that push that's occurring on the spinal cord, then we can take them right into emergency surgery. And then we are a 24/7 facility, so we have staff there caring for these patients all the time to make sure they get exactly what they need.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's so tricky as pet owners is, you know, healthcare for our pets. It can be very, very cost prohibitive and expensive. What are your conversations look like with people, or what should they be considering if they're weighing? Could I invest in something like this, or is this not something that's just feasible right now? Because it's such a personal, difficult decision, right?
1,000%. And that's what we always tell owners. We'll say, look, this is the gold standard of what we recommend doing, but not everybody's going to be able to do that, and we completely respect and understand that. And so with that, then we'll come up with options. Hey, we can kind of treat for the treatable is what I'll always say, and give it our best shot. So just because you come in to see us, it doesn't mean you have to get an MRI. We can absolutely provide a lot of valuable information for owners just with the consult itself, and make sure we're getting them at least started on treatment with what we think is going on.
I was reading that these kinds of sort of specialty clinics are starting to pop up all over the country. You mentioned that you've been traveling, and we now have one in Minnesota. I'm curious, you know, is there something that's kind of pushing these to open more, or what are you
Good
seeing?
question. Yeah, so I really think that the need has become so much greater over the last 4 years or so, really since COVID started, because people are just, they built such a great connection with their pets during COVID. I would say the one, if we can say a good thing that came from it, or just a positive that came from it, is the fact that, you know, people just have that deep connection, and it's allowed them to bond. And that animal that they may have obtained during COVID and it got them through that is now a huge part of their life and their family. And they want to do everything that they can for them. So not only is the need greater, but also the accessibility. You know, we need to be able for these animals to get in immediately to be seen. You can't wait a couple of weeks to get in if your dog has acutely lost the ability to use its leg, or if you can't control your cat's seizures. Like, these are life-threatening situations, and we need to get them taken care of and get them through the door right away, which we still need the other emergency hospitals to deal with. Everything else, absolutely. But there is a big difference when you go into a, you know, general emergency hospital, because they're dealing with all the other problems too. They're dealing with so many other conditions, and it just makes that the neuro conditions, they just have to compete with all those. So now they don't have to compete anymore. They can just come right to us. And it is something on the East and the West Coast that has definitely started. And I still wouldn't say it's becoming more common, but it's definitely still not really common. But I would say that I think there's going to be a huge change over the next couple of years, seeing more of these neurospecific and other specialty hospitals pop up.
Interesting. All right, well, it's Minnesota Veterinary Neurology. Again, the state's first, Minnesota's first neurology-specific hospital. Columbus, just north of the metro, you're opening on Monday. Dr. Missy Carpentier is the lead veterinarian. We really appreciate your time and this information today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. All right, take care. All right, Amber, do we want to check in on the press conference that we're... Okay, sounds good. If you want to pop that up. Yeah, we are just keeping an eye here on what looks like it's going to be a FBI news conference on yesterday's shooting at that Dallas ICE facility. And so we are just keeping an eye. We believe it's going to start at about 1:30, and we'll follow that and see if there's some information that we can bring you there as it's happening today, this afternoon. All right, let's see. I think, what else do we have coming up here? Oh, that's right. I am super excited to talk with our Vikings fan, the Vikings UK and Dublin fan club president. Maybe you've seen him. He was on our air earlier this morning, and we had to talk to him some more because he had all the vibes, as the kids say. And we'll talk to him in just a little bit, and a lot more coming up here on All Day Live. Oh, look at EarthCam. Thank you, EarthCam. Beautiful. Oh, look. Somebody's like posing, like they know they're look, she knows she's on right now. No, she's gonna take a picture. Never mind. You see Vikings jerseys? I don't see them, but oh, I see. Yes, there we go.
You see them right there?
There we go. I see them.
We got fans, live action.
Dublin. I love it. Thank you, EarthCam, for this beautiful live shot. It is what, almost 7:30 p.m. in Dublin as we are getting ready for the big game Sunday morning. We got you covered starting at 7 a.m. here on Fox 9, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to All Day Live. We are hanging on. Amber's keeping an eye on Dallas, where we expect the FBI to hold a news conference here shortly on the shooting that happened at the ICE detention facility yesterday. So we will bring you that as soon as that gets going, if we can get in there and get you some information. Until then, though, we're going to kind of roll on with the show here and talk to somebody that I'm really excited to talk to, because I saw him this morning on our morning news with Saquon. She was interviewing him. And then I think he made a couple more appearances throughout the day here, so maybe he's been on our air more than we've been on our air. But it's a good thing. Skull Nation, as we know, goes well beyond Minnesota's borders. We've seen it when the Vikings have played in London before. This weekend, 4,000 some miles away, all the way to Ireland. The team taking off today to play the Steelers on Sunday morning. And those international fans, they're getting their Gallarhorns ready. Joining me now is John McDonald, president of the UK and Ireland Vikings fan club. Hello, how are you?
Hello there. Thank you very much for having me on. Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here.
I am so thrilled to talk to you because, like I said, I was getting ready this morning, and I looked up and I said, well, who is this? This just makes me smile, just seeing you talking about the Vikings. Tell me a little bit about how long you've been a fan and how you came to be a Minnesota Vikings fan.
I started supporting the team really about 20 years ago, watching the championship game against the Saints is when I was sitting there watching it in a bar, and I decided that was my team. Unfortunately, we lost that game.
And that set the tone for the rest of your fandom.
Yeah, that's the Minnesota way. They draw you in with hope and then crush you. But I wouldn't have it any other way.
It's so true. There's so much that I want to talk to you about and get into. If you don't mind, I know we'd asked you prior if we could kind of put you on pause if this press conference started, and you're okay with that. If you don't mind hanging on a second, Amber's letting me know that they're just getting started, so we're going to dip into that and see how long we want to stay with that. But if you want to hang on, we will come back to you, John. Thank you for holding on. All right, Amber, are you ready to take us over? There we go. All right, well, let's listen in here to Dallas.
The acting U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Texas, and she's joined by Joseph Rothrock, the Special Agent in charge of the FBI, Dallas. With him is Marcos Charles, the Acting Executive Associate Director of ISIS Enforcement and Removal Operations. We also have Josh Johnson, the Acting Field Office Director, ERO Operations, Dallas Field Office. Travis Pickard, Special Agent in charge of HSI, Dallas. And Benny Mims, Special Agent in charge of ATF, Dallas. At the back, I will be putting a sign-in sheet for all media. So please, before you leave, add your information so that we have that. And following the remarks, we will have a brief period for questions and answers. Please remember to identify yourself and your media affiliation when you ask a question. And with that, I'll turn it over to Acting U.S. Attorney Nancy Larson.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. This is the third time in my short 4-month tenure as the Acting United States Attorney for this district where we have suffered violent attacks and threats at ICE facilities. First, you'll recall July 4th, 2024, the violent attack on the Prairieland facility in Alvarado, Texas. The second occurred on August 25th, 2024, when Bratton Dean Wilkinson, who stands charged by federal complaint, pretended to have a bomb. He showed up at the ICE facility with a backpack and something that looked like a detonator on his wrist and threatened the facility. Third, of course, is yesterday's attack, September 24th, 2025, when the Dallas ICE facility was riddled with gunfire, costing the life of one detainee and injuring 2 other detainees critically. Initially, I want to commend the cooperation of the Dallas Police Department, the Dallas County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, the ATF, ICE, and HSI for their swift and decisive response to this crime. Members of these agencies quickly secured the scene and the evidence and worked tirelessly to determine any continuing threat. Due to their efforts, it did not take long to ascertain the identity of the shooter, who was deceased by a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and that he very likely acted alone. His name is Joshua Yan, 29, of Fairview, Texas. Let me just review a very brief summary of the timeline of yesterday's attack. We believe at some point around 3 o'clock in the morning that the suspect was seen driving on footage with a large ladder on his car. And we believe that that is what he used to position himself on top of the building. The shooting itself started at approximately 6:30 a.m. After the shooting started, Dallas Police Department arrived en masse, secured the scene. Law enforcement officers found the sniper dead. They found bullets on the rooftop, one of which was labeled with the words anti-ICE. That morning, gunshots sprayed the length of the building, the windows, and law enforcement vans that were in the Sallyport area. Detainees were struck by these bullets. One was killed, 2 were wounded, and both of them are undergoing treatment. Shortly thereafter, the FBI began its meticulous work at the crime scene. At the same time, we obtained and executed multiple search warrants yesterday for devices and locations associated with the sniper. FBI agents executed a search warrant at the sniper's residence yesterday, and there found a collection of notes. First, I want to point out that one of these notes or papers, the sniper explicitly states, "Yes, it was just me." That statement appears to be correct at this point in the investigation. Notably, these loose notes included a game plan of the attack and target areas at the facility. He called the ICE employees people showing up to collect a dirty paycheck. He wrote that he intended to maximize lethality against ICE personnel and to maximize property damage at the facility. He hoped to minimize any collateral damage or injury to the detainees and any other innocent people. It seems that he did not intend to kill the detainees or harm them. It's clear from these notes that he was targeting ICE agents and ICE personnel. The tragic irony for his evil plot here is that it was a detainee who was killed and 2 other detainees that were injured when he fired into the Sallyport. He also hoped his actions would give ICE agents real terror of being gunned down, and he did this to induce constant stress in their lives. He hoped his actions would terrorize ICE employees and interfere with their work, which he called human trafficking. And this, what he did, is the very definition of terrorism. Again, his notes reveal, yes, it was just me and my brain. And he said, good luck with the digital footprint. And of course, we take this to mean that he deleted evidence from his devices. His words were definitively anti-ICE. That said, we did not find evidence of membership in any specific group or entity, nor did he mention any specific government agency other than ICE. Among his papers, though, was a handwritten note in which, in crude words, he expressed his hatred for the federal government. Finally, I want to address the heroism of our federal agents yesterday. While under fire, ICE agents and ATF agents who were also present in the facility's Sallyport area worked together to remove detainees from the vans and get them to safety while the bullets were flying. These agents were heroic, clearly willing to lay down their lives to save the lives of the detainees in their custody. And that's an extremely important point to make at this point in time. I want to express my deepest appreciation for the bravery of these law enforcement officers yesterday and every single day that they go out there to keep us safe. I'll now turn it over to FBI Special Agent in charge of the Dallas Field Office, Joe Rothrock. Thank you.
Good afternoon. First, I'd like to start by thanking our acting United States Attorney, Nancy Larson, and her office for their support during this investigation. My name is Joe Rothrock, and I'm the Special Agent in charge of the FBI's Dallas Field Office. Yesterday morning, Joshua Yan carried out a targeted, ambush-style attack on law enforcement. Today, I will provide you with some updates of what we've learned through our investigation to date, to include Yan's own words in his handwritten notes. Yan specifically intended to kill ICE agents. He fired at transport vehicles carrying ICE personnel, federal agents, and detainees. He also fired multiple shots into the windows of the office building where numerous ICE employees do their jobs every day. We now know that Yan engaged in significant high degree of pre-attack planning. He searched for information about the office building and how to track ICE agents' locations. Yan also acknowledged the potential for other casualties. He knew with a high likelihood ICE detainees would be transported that morning in the exact location where he was facing from his perch on a nearby rooftop. Yan's attack did in fact result in the tragic death of one detainee and the injury to 2 other detainees. We have been able to confirm that Yan legally obtained an 8mm bolt-action rifle he used in the shooting in August of this year. Based on our investigation to date, we believe Yan acted alone, but I'll stress our investigation continues. This attack yet again underscores the dangers that law enforcement face daily. We continue to see an increased threats against law enforcement. This is the second attack in recent months on ICE facilities here in North Texas. I do want to take this opportunity to thank our law enforcement partners, some of whom are here with us today. When Yan began firing, agents from both ICE and the ATF put themselves in the line of fire to move individuals off the transportation vehicles in an attempt to protect and rescue those that were injured. I want to thank them for their bravery. The Dallas Police Department and the Dallas County Sheriff's Office also quickly responded to the scene without any hesitation and ran towards danger. Ultimately, they located the shooter, who was deceased by an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. I want to thank them for their prompt response and dedication to protecting and serving their communities. I also want to thank our partners that have assisted in this investigation. The Fairview Police Department, as well as our partners in Oklahoma, to include Bryant County Sheriff's Department, Durant Police Department, and Choctaw Nation Light Horse Police, as well as our personnel from San Antonio and Oklahoma City within the FBI that assisted. The FBI has dedicated its entire breadth of resources to ensure this investigation is completed thoroughly. The FBI stands with our law enforcement partners, and today we express that the attacks against law enforcement officers will not be tolerated. While we believe Yan acted alone, we are still asking that anyone with information about Yan or his activities report that to the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI or at www.fbi.gov/Dallas ERO shooting. And with that, I will turn it over to Director Charles.
Good afternoon. My name is Marcos Charles. I am the ICE Executive Associate Director for Enforcement and Removal Operations. The attack on ICE's Dallas field office yesterday was tragic. And while our hearts and prayers are with the family of the detainees who were shot, the evidence is clear that this was intended as an assault on ICE personnel who come to work every day to do their job. Violent rhetoric has led to over 1,000% increase in assaults on ICE officers, and it has to stop. In contrast to those who would demonize our men and women, yesterday our brave officers ran back into danger, along with ATF, our partners, to save the detainees while shots were still being fired. Those ICE officers just showed the world who they really are. Law enforcement officers who want the best for our country. That's ICE. Integrity, courage, excellence. They were willing to put their lives on the line to pull detainees out of the transport van to get them to safety. They are heroes, and I hope the media has the integrity to shine a light on this story. Enough is enough with the harmful lies and violent rhetoric. It has to stop. The shooter used the ICE tracking apps. Anyone who creates or distributes these apps that is designed to spot, track, and locate ICE officers are well aware of the dangers that they are exposing to law enforcement. It's a casting call to invite bad actors to attack law enforcement officers. It's no different than giving a hitman the location of their intended target, and this is exactly what we saw happen in Dallas yesterday.
Okay, we are going to leave this news conference. If you want to keep watching and you're on the Fox Local app, if you are watching us like this, you can scroll up, and Live Now is going to continue that live news conference if you'd like to continue to watch that. We are going to take a break, and we'll be right back with our Vikings fan who is going to be at the Dublin game. We're going to check in with him, president of the fan club in Dublin in the UK. Jonathan, when we come right back. All right, thanks for staying with us here on All Day Live. Coming up on the 2 o'clock hour when we wrap things up. But before we go, last but not least, we were chatting with John McDonald, who's the president of the UK and Ireland Vikings fan club before the break. Thanks for hanging around and staying with us. We were talking about how you came to be a Vikings fan. You want to just tell us again a little bit about that, and then you know, I have so many questions, but let's start there.
Yeah, I was watching the championship game against the Saints, and I was watching it in a bar, and some Packers fans were burning their old Brett Favre jerseys in the garden, and I was like, I want to be everything that's not that. And I became a Minnesota Vikings fan that day.
I love that. I wonder if we can see producer Amber's face right now. I would love to see her.
My jaw hit the floor. I'm a lifelong born and raised Packers fan, John. So the way you just daggered my heart.
It's all right. Okay. All right. Amber, back out. We'll bring her back in later. But right now, this is time to talk Vikings. Okay. So that was, you said, about what, 20 years ago?
Yeah, about 20
years ago, and you've been a fan ever since. I'm curious, do you have a favorite era of the Vikings, like a combo of the offense or the defense that is like your favorite time in this organization?
I mean, it's the Minnesota Miracle, and that team building up to that, because obviously the Purple people, it was well before my time, and Moss and Carter were before I started watching it, so I didn't get all of that, unfortunately. But the 2017 run was absolutely awesome. Diggs and Phelan, and so unexpected. But yeah, what we've got now is ridiculously underrated.
Agreed. I agree with you. I want to, first of all, I have to know how you are watching the games. Is it easy to get them over there? And then what time difference usually is there? Like, are you at night watching these?
Yeah, we mean, we do have Game Pass over here, so we get all the games over here. So, but the first two games of the season weren't that easy for us. Kicking off at 1 a.m. in the morning. And finishing at 4 when some of us have to go to work at 7 a.m. So yeah, especially after a loss, after a win, you can power through that day. But when you stayed up till 4 o'clock in the morning and you're doing on 3 hours sleep after a loss, it's a bit of a struggle.
It's so brutal. Okay, so I want to ask your opinion on our quarterback situation, because as you know, this is every year we seem to have a lot to talk about around the quarterback's position. What are your thoughts here as we head into to this week and beyond?
I absolutely love JJ, but if he's not right, he's not right at the moment. If he's not fit, he's not fit at the moment. And you know what? Anytime a Minnesota starting quarterback goes down, and we bring in someone else to cover for them, we have a good run. We tend to have a good run that season. So, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that's the way it goes.
I hope so. Are you going to both games, Dublin and London?
Yes, I will be going. I will be going out there to Dublin tomorrow, and then I'll be coming back to. I'm actually cycling between the two venues for charity for just over 600K. But yeah, I will be going to both games.
Okay, how are you going to cycle between the two?
Yeah, I catch the ferry from Dublin and land in North Wales, and then I'm going to be cycling all across North Wales, down through Chester, through Birmingham, and landing in London on the 6th day. It's about 650K I'm doing, so it's about 50 miles a day.
Wow.
I'm going to be doing every single day.
Really quickly, is there a link or a website or something where people can help? And
if you want to donate, you can go to justgiving/thepurplepedal, and that's the Purple Pedal. Yeah.
Nice.
That's where you can donate. I mean, it's all going to Mind, which is a mental health charity over in the UK, which affects so many different people. There's so many different areas where mental health affects people. There's no one out there who doesn't at least know someone who's struggled with mental health over the years. But yeah,
Amen.
That's what I thought. Whilst we've got this spotlight on our club over here, why not do some good and give back to the charity?
I love that. That's so great. Amber we were saying earlier, she had a great idea where on the ferry, maybe you could get a stationary bike and then, just go and pretend like you're pedaling.
A couple of people have suggested I get a swan pedaler and do it across. the RSC like that, but I have said no to that.
Okay, all right.
A little bit.
Fair enough. We're so excited to talk to you, and it's just so fun for us to see fans in other parts of the world who are as passionate as we are, and we live here. We probably take it for granted that we can just, you know, have all of this around us all the time. What's it like? What is the other fan base like? I mean, you're president of a fan club. How pervasive are Vikings fans where you are?
Absolutely. It's recently, over the last couple of years, what the Vikings have done over in this country, I cannot speak highly enough of. The Vikings have pushed so hard over here to get young fans into the game, to get fans over here. They've been giving us great experiences. Obviously, we've played over here a fair few times. The Vikings have their global marketing rights over in the UK at the moment, so they don't have them in Ireland. That's a separate issue, but yeah, what the Vikings are doing in the UK and all across Europe is just unbelievable. I've got good friends who are fans in Germany, Spain, Italy, Sweden, all across Europe. There's hardly a country in Europe that I don't know we've got good Vikings fans, because I don't know, it speaks to a lot. I think the Vikings speak to a lot to the European vibe.
Yeah, oh, for sure, yeah. I wanted to bring Amber back in here because we did actually get a question for you, John. Do you want to ask John the question from John?
From John. So thank you, John, for the email. John wants to know your opinion on Guinness beer in Ireland, because everyone says that we kind of have the pasteurized and not so great stuff over here. So is it really better in Ireland?
It is far superior. Even here in England, it is far superior in Ireland than it is even here in England. It barely even tastes the same.
Wow. What's different?
It's just freshness in the taste, and like absolutely all the barkeepers over there know exactly how to pour a perfect Guinness. Yeah, it's just completely different.
Oh my goodness. We just have like a minute or two left, John, but you've been here in the States. In fact, you've been to Minnesota to go to some games. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, about 2 years ago, we brought over about 40 fans, traveled over for, it was the Bears game on the Monday night, just after Thanksgiving a couple of years ago. We flew over, we took a Timberwolves game, we saw a Gophers game, we saw a Wild game, and we went to the Bears game against the Vikings, and all 4 teams lost, obviously, because that's Minnesota for you. And then we flew home, but everyone had a brilliant experience. We got the Vikings allowed us on the field after the game, and yeah, it was an absolute amazing experience that all of our fans just absolutely loved, even though we didn't come home with the right result.
Oh, well, we appreciate you so much for running that fan club and representing over there. You know, this is so cool to see, and it's just something that can bond everybody, even 4,000 miles away, is just the coolest thing. John, thank you so much for joining us today, and you know, Skol, right?
Skol Vikes.
Skol.
Oh, even we got Amber to say it too. See, already rubbing off on her. Thanks, John.
We're going to go out, Amy, on US Bank Stadium in John's honor,
Let's
obviously.
Do it. I love it. All right, see you tomorrow, everybody.